WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just...
What was so explosive that the WNBA locked its meeting room doors tighter than ever? Inside, the mood wasn't just tense, it was pure panic. This wasn't another routine gathering called by WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert to discuss schedules or quarterly profits. Insiders are describing this all-hands-on-deck meeting as a frantic attempt to save the league's narrative before everything completely spirals out of control. The sudden alarm wasn't triggered by a failed drug test or some legal scandal. Instead, it came from an upcoming NBC announcement that could completely shake the power structure of women's basketball. For months, referees have swallowed their whistles while rookies absorbed brutal hits in the paint, and veterans openly mocked the game's newest superstar. But now, the corporate bosses have finally reached their limit. The WNBA is preparing to collect billions from NBC and other media giants. Yet rumors claim that investment comes with very specific expectations, and Caitlin Clark sits right at the center of every one. This emergency meeting wasn't simply about basketball anymore. It was about a hostile takeover of the league's entire culture, and whatever unfolded behind those closed doors could permanently reshape the sport. But to understand why the commissioner is suddenly sweating, you first need to see what NBC just placed on the table. This wasn't some friendly suggestion from a television partner. If you're enjoying this story, hit the like button and subscribe because more than 83% of viewers still haven't joined the channel. It costs absolutely nothing, takes only a second, and your support genuinely keeps these stories coming. Already subscribed? You're amazing. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, let's get back to the real drama. This wasn't just business. It was a power move reminding everyone exactly who writes the checks. According to sources, NBC executives have watched this season with excitement over the ratings but complete frustration over how everything has been managed. When you invest that much money, you expect your biggest attraction to be showcased, not hunted down. Rumors spreading throughout the league claim NBC made one thing crystal clear. The Caitlin Clark phenomenon is the centerpiece of its entire broadcasting strategy. The old participation trophy marketing approach that has followed the league for years simply doesn't interest them. They want the Michael Jordan treatment. They want a cleaner storyline, protected stars, and one unmistakable focus. According to reports, the emergency meeting reached panic mode because of one brutal ultimatum. Either the network would step in and publicly lay down the rules, or the league would finally stop the internal sabotage surrounding its biggest attraction. For a league that has always celebrated teamwork above everything else, this was one painful wake-up call. Commercial flights are history now, and the people funding those private jets expect them to land exactly where the money is waiting. That impossible balancing act is exactly why Commissioner Cathy Engelbert finds herself trapped. Right now, she's standing on a razor's edge between 2 powerful forces that can barely stand each other. On one side sit wealthy executives from NBC, Amazon, and Disney, who view Caitlin Clark as the golden harvest and the WNBA as premium entertainment content. On the other side stands a locker room culture and players' union fiercely rejecting the idea that any single player should ever become bigger than the league itself. Rumors claim Cathy Engelbert had to deliver that uncomfortable truth to the league's longtime veterans during this private gathering. The message couldn't have been easy. The sudden surge in attention, higher salaries, and growing exposure didn't happen because the world suddenly discovered women's basketball. According to these claims, they exploded because of one extraordinary popularity phenomenon. Accepting that a rookie transformed the league is a bitter reality for veterans who spent 10 years fighting for recognition. No wonder the tension inside that room was reportedly thick enough to slice with a knife. Unfortunately, television networks aren't interested in seniority. They care about advertising revenue. Current ratings reportedly show viewers changing the channel whenever number 22 leaves the floor. But the timing of this entire intervention makes the story even more explosive. This emergency meeting arrived immediately after the controversial basketball roster decision. Many believe that moment ignited the growing battle between league coaches and television executives. Remember, NBC broadcasts these games. By leaving the world's most popular female basketball player off that roster, the committee allegedly did far more than upset fans. Reports claim the network watched millions in potential advertising revenue disappear overnight. Rumors suggest that became the CEO's breaking point after ongoing political drama and basketball decisions. They believed a guaranteed ratings explosion had vanished. That's why many think this emergency summit carried one simple message: never again. Reports also claim future contracts may contain protections preventing similar acts of self-sabotage. If the league wants maximum revenue, its biggest stars must stay on the biggest stage. Pure basketball philosophy suddenly collided with ruthless business reality, and the side holding the checkbook usually wins. Rumors even suggest Cathy promised the league would stop diminishing Caitlin Clark and finally start maximizing her value, even if bruised egos followed throughout the organization. That brings us to the issue many believe dominated the private conversation: officiating. A player repeatedly getting clotheslined while driving to the basket as officials look away simply cannot remain the centerpiece of a billion-dollar business. An increasingly popular theory among fans, and perhaps even sponsors, claims the league has allowed excessive physical play against Caitlin Clark to send a message. Some call it the traditional welcome to the W treatment, but to casual viewers and network executives, it looks more like terrible business management. Ratings collapse, and investments suffer whenever a veteran sidelines the league's biggest attraction through unnecessary physical play. Reports suggest cleaning up officiating became a major objective of the emergency meeting. This wasn't about fixing games, it was about protecting valuable assets. The NBA followed similar approaches with LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan. For years, the WNBA embraced a physical style instead of star-focused officiating, but NBC isn't paying for toughness. They're paying for unforgettable highlights. Rumors claim officiating is about to change dramatically, and players refusing to adapt could find themselves buried in foul trouble before they know it. But the darkest chapter of this entire story isn't the whistles. It's the resistance brewing behind the scenes. To understand that, you have to understand the locker room mentality. WNBA players spent years surviving on scraps, traveling overseas and competing in difficult conditions just to earn a living. Now the money has finally arrived, yet it appears one player is receiving nearly all the attention. You can almost taste the resentment. Reports suggest the emergency meeting even addressed fears of a possible rebellion. What happens if other stars refuse to appear in NBC promotions? What if Caitlin Clark's camp becomes socially and culturally isolated from the rest of the league? Rumors even claim certain players secretly contacted reporters, hoping stories would spread about Caitlin Clark being overrated or her fanbase creating a toxic environment. Before that internal conflict spills onto the court and damages the entire brand, Cathy reportedly knows she has to contain it. That may have been the true purpose behind the emergency session. Veterans are expected to accept the new reality and smile for the cameras, but pride can be incredibly fragile. Push NBC's agenda too aggressively, and some players could revolt, creating a public relations nightmare filled with accusations of favoritism and disrespect toward the league's pioneers. Since money drives everything here, let's examine that side more closely. The WNBA's value has skyrocketed, but many believe the boom rests on one massive demographic shift. Welcome to the Caitlin Clark economy. By several measurements, the Indiana Fever's ticket sales are outperforming huge portions of the league by themselves. Opposing franchises even move games into larger arenas whenever the Fever come to town. Team owners see exactly what's happening. They're not blind. Coaches and general managers, however, operate with completely different priorities. Sometimes winning still means slowing the game down or emphasizing physical defense. Never has the divide between the business side, represented by owners, and